Yo, what's up guys, it's Drew from Ado Sounds, and today I'm going to show you this amazing plugin called Life. This plugin is made by XLN Audio, the makers of RC20, and I honestly think this is one of the best plugins ever made. So basically what it does is you can pull in any live recording that you take and turn it into a percussion loop. So for example, I have this live recording of me walking on rocks, and I dragged it in here and it automatically chopped it up and then made a percussion loop out of it. And then from there, you can randomize the percussion loop. So it's going to make you a completely new loop with a completely new pattern. You can change all the different parameters of it in this edit tab. And there's basically infinite possibilities. So first I'm going to show all the basics on this explore page. And then I'm going to go over to the edit tab and we're going to go through every single parameter so you can learn this plugin. It's super powerful. You can customize the loops to be exactly how you want, but the best part is that it literally makes loops for you. So first I'm going to find a live recording that I like. I have this recording that I took at an outdoor basketball court, and it's just people playing basketball and dribbling the ball. You can hear somebody break a shot there. So I'm going to pull this recording into the plugin. When you pull it in, you can trim the start and end time if you want to. The limit is 15 seconds. So if it's a longer recording than 15 seconds, like this one, for example, you can only select 15 seconds, but you can pick which section of the recording you want to use. So I have this basketball recording and I'm going to import it, and I already have this imported, so it opened it up automatically. So the first thing I'm going to do is just listen to this loop that it generated. Super cool loop, and you can see that it's using these slices that are highlighted, so it automatically slices up the recording for you, and then it just generates a beat out of that. So from top to bottom, the first thing that you can select is denoise, and what that does is it just takes out some of the background noise to clean up your recording a little bit. It's sometimes really subtle, but it definitely makes a difference. And then here you can go to the slice points and actually drag around these slice points, but it's usually pretty good at picking points that are interesting, so I usually just leave it how it is. Next, you have the beat shortlist here. Once you find a beat that you like, you can have it right here, and then you can press the plus button, and then you can make a new beat on this one. So you can go back and forth and try out different loops. So the most important feature of this is the randomize button. You just press this, and it's gonna make a new beat for you. So you can press it again. And say I like that one. Once again, I can press plus, go to the next one, keep clicking randomize until I find another one I like, and I can go between these different beats and try out different ones. So the next cool feature in this is the sound variation. And what that does is it lets you explore different processing options. So you can move this around and it's going to change the reverb, the filters, basically everything about each slice it's going to change. So you can get a lot of different variation just from doing this. So you can hear you get a lot of different variation out of that. And if you find a point you want, you can just leave it there. After that, we have the browse. And this is just all the different patterns that XLN Audio created. And you can select any pattern that you like. But I typically just like using the randomize button, and it just picks one of these patterns for you. So the next important feature is the pattern variation. And this allows you to explore different variations on the pattern. As you move it, it's going to change the pattern slightly. Okay, I like how that one sounds, and I'm going to try to change the sound variation real quick. That sounds really cool. So next we have the density knob, and this controls how dense or sparse the loop is. So if you turn it down, it's going to make it a lot more sparse and empty. So I'll show you what that sounds like. And then when you turn it up, it's going to make it a lot more dense. And if you notice, you can see the pattern changing on this wheel here. As you turn it up and down, you can see more notes being added. The next knob is the syncopation, and this controls how syncopated the pattern is. So if you turn it all the way down, it sounds like this. This is another good control for adding variation to your pattern. Next, we have the symmetry, and this controls how similar the first half of the pattern is to the second half. I'll show you the difference of what it sounds like turned up and down. Next, we have the play button down here. Pretty obvious what that does, but this lock right here will actually start and stop the playback when the DAW starts and stops, and it'll also sync it to the DAW tempo, which is really nice. So if I change this, you can see right here the tempo is changing. Next is the out knob. This is just the master volume. Pretty simple. Next, we have the tempo, so you can just change the BPM of the loop, and you can also lock it or unlock it. So when you make a new pattern, if it's locked, it's going to stay on there. But if it's unlocked, it's going to give you a new tempo every single time, which is actually kind of nice because you get a lot of different variation like that. Next, we have the groove control. And what this does is add groove to your beat. So right now, it's a pretty straight pattern. But if we turn this up, you can hear how swung it gets. And there's a bunch of different swing options in here. I would definitely experiment with the different ones. I really like the swing 16, swing 8, and the skip it one is pretty cool. And you can also lock that, so when you randomize it, it stays in place. Next, we have this pitch control, and when you disable it, the slices won't be pitched. So right now, it sounds like this. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell on percussive samples, but you can really tell the difference sometimes if some of the slices are pitched. One thing I really love about this plugin is this kick control. They call it the kick tronome. Basically, it allows you to hear your beat with context. So if I turn this on, and you can turn this up right here. And you can also change the kick pattern right here. And now you'll be able to hear the swing a little bit better if I have this on. So I'm going to put it on this hiccup one and turn it up. And if we go to swing 8. And you can also change the kick right here. I usually just keep it on auto. And then you can lock this so it doesn't change when you're switching beats. So that's it for the main Explore tab. Now I'm going to go into the edit and show you guys how powerful this plugin actually is. So right here, we have all the same stuff from the Explore tab. And then at the bottom, it has all the same controls too. Right here, we have the groups. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are all the different patterns that are playing at once. So the first thing you can do is mute and solo each group. So if I solo this, and you can also solo them together, so you can just hear part of the pattern. Next, each group has a volume knob, and that's very self-explanatory. And you can also pitch each group. So say I want to pitch this slice right here. So I'll leave that right there. You can also change the panning back and forth. So I'll keep that in the middle. And then you have a tone knob, and this is just a tilt filter that makes it either brighter or darker. So if you turn it up, it'll be brighter. And turn down, it'll be darker. Next, we have this cut, and it's just a basic cut filter, so you can filter out the low and high frequencies. Then we have the reverb and delay, and this is just how much reverb or delay it's applying. So it sounds really cool when you mess with that. And next we have the envelope, and it's just transient, hold, and decay. So if you turn up the transient's going to be a lot more apparent. And if we turn up the hold, it's going to hold for longer. And the decay you can turn up. It's going to make the slice decay last for longer. Now we have the actual pattern editor, and the way it works is it plays through A first, and then it plays through B, and you can actually switch it to AB or AAAB. So if you switch it to AAAB, it'll play through A 3 times and then play through B, so you can get a switch up at the end. You can add notes and delete them by just clicking in one of the squares, and then to turn down a note, you just hold it and scroll down. And to turn up a note, you hold it and scroll up. And finally, we have the nudge, which allows you to adjust the timing of the lane up to a half step. And you can either make it early or late. So if you want to add some swing, this is a good thing to mess with. And I'm going to play it with the kick so you can hear it better. So you can hear if I push it to the right, it's coming late. If I push it early. The next thing I want to show you is when groups have multiple slices. If you want to change what slice is being used, you just remove it and then you click again and it'll cycle through the different slices. So you can see these are cycling through. They're kind of similar colors, so it's a little bit hard to see, but it's going between that teal, the blue, and then the purple. So real quick, I don't really like the way this one slice sounds. I think it's this one right here. No, it's this one. So this slice kind of sounds a little bit weird to me because it decays for too long. So I'm going to turn down the decay. And you can hear how that changes the sound if I turn it up. So you can really get in there and customize the loop exactly how you want it. So I'm going to play it all together real quick. So now we have the full kit controls, and this is going to control all 4 of these at one time. So first is the level, and that's just the volume level. It pretty much acts the same as the master output knob. Next, we can change the pitch of everything at once. Then we have the master reverb and delay. So you can turn up the reverb or delay on all the groups at one time. Then we have the controls for the reverb and delay, so you can just turn them on and off here if you want to. And the reverb has a bunch of different options like big hall, bright room, dark room, all kinds of different stuff. So you can change the mode of the reverb. So you can hear, you can get a lot of different sounds out of that. And then this is just the reverb length, and it's going to control how long or how short the reverb is. And last we have the tone, and it doesn't say, but I'm assuming this is once again a tilt filter. Yeah, it sounds like it's just a tilt filter, and that's just controlling the tone of the reverb. Then you have all the same controls for the delay, and you have some different options here. You have 8th dotted, 8th note, 4th triplets, 4th dotted, ping pong, and fast dub. I'm going to try ping pong. And then you can turn up the length, so that's going to control the feedback amount. And then we have the crunch, and this has several different algorithms in it. So you can change between transformer, knock, more 808, more 909, etc. And then you can just turn up how much crunch you're adding to it here. And then last we have the final cut filter, and this just allows you to filter the highs and the lows. So that's basically everything you can do with this plugin. Now I want to quickly show you the export options, and then I'm going to show you some really cool different examples that you can get out of different recordings. So if you want to export, you just go up to this export button, and you have this menu here. You can export the individual process slices if you want. You can render all of these process slices so you have them all in one folder. You can render the stems of each group by themselves, or you can render all of them at once, so you'll have all 4 stems of each group. What I usually do is just go to render beat as wave, so you press this and then you can just drag it straight into your DAW. And one thing I recommend is turn off normalize because it's kind of buggy right now. It'll sometimes make the beat super, super loud. So I turn that off, press this, and now I can drag it straight into my DAW. And as you can see right here, we have the loop that we just made. Then you can also render out the source files, all the slices, and all the active slices just as raw wave files, so it won't have any of the effects or anything. It's just if you want the slices it created. And last right here, you have the export folder, and you can set your export folder by just clicking this. And I just have a big export folder of like a ton of different beats that I've made. But a lot of the time I'll drag them into the DAW first and do a little bit of editing, because a lot of the time I like to slice them up even more and make them even more interesting. So now you know how to use this entire plugin. I want to show you some really cool examples of what you can do with it. First, I'm going to grab this recording that I took of some pigs. So when I took this recording, I was like, I don't know what the fuck anybody would ever use this for. Like, it's so random. But if I pull this in here, and I'm going to go back to the Explore tab. So you actually get something interesting out of it. I'm going to press randomize. And you can hear that's actually a usable loop out of just a pig recording. So if I wanted to, I could go up here, press export, render. I can pull this into my project and make my own beat with it. So I just made this really quick house beat with that loop. So we literally have a loop made out of pigs snorting and eating. And this plugin somehow actually made it usable for a real song. So now I'll show you a couple other cool ways I like to use it. It's really, really good for hi-hat loops. So I'm going to pull this one in. And by the way, all these house samples are from the Organic House Essentials. I teamed up with Magnetic Mag to bring you guys this pack for free, and it turned out really amazing. I definitely recommend going to download it. It has everything you need to make organic house music. So I just pulled in this hi-hat loop, and let's see what kind of pattern it makes for us. So as you can hear, you get a lot of variations out of a simple hat loop. And you can also, once again, go in and change the sound variation, change the pattern variation, go into the edit tab, change all these controls, make it completely your own pattern. So the last thing I'm going to show you is how it works on a melodic loop. It definitely doesn't work as well for a really, really full melody loop. Like if you have a hip hop loop that has a bass line, an arp, a lead, a pad, just a bunch of sounds in it, it's really hard to get good results out of it, but you can get good results. But with simple stuff like ARP loops or lead loops or just single stem loops, you can get some really cool stuff. I'm going to pull in this ARP loop from the Organic House sample pack, and this is what the original sounds like. And let's see what it makes for us. So I like how that one sounds. Let's try out some different ones. I really like this one too. This is a great little ARP loop. It'd be really good for the intro of a house song. Let's try one more. Another really cool one. So once again, here's the original loop. And then here's the 3 new loops that we made. And we can go back, change the sound variation. And now we have a really cool loop that we can just go and export. That's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I highly recommend you get this plugin. It's called Life by XLN Audio. It'll really change the way you think about making percussion loops. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.